This podcast contains discussion around depression and suicide. If you're experiencing feelings of sadness, depression, or thoughts of self-harm, stop and seek help now. There is someone waiting to talk to you right now on Lifeline's crisis hotline, 13 11 14, or call 000.
This podcast may also contain unintentional coarse language and political incorrectness.
Welcome to episode 3 of season 3 of You Wouldn't Be Dead for Quids. In this series, we're taking a closer look at the work of Dr. Kelly Turner and her book Radical Remission, Surviving Cancer Against All Odds. We're looking at it with Graham Cotter, who is not only a Schitt's Creek tour guide, but a Radical Remission coach, who has studied with Dr. Kelly Turner's Radical Remission project and joins a dedicated group of coaches who are assisting people to put those 10 common factors into practice. I'm Ruth Geis, and this is Graham Cotter. How are you doing, Graham?
Wouldn't be dead for quids, Ruth.
And let's be honest, you've gotten uncomfortably close a couple of times.
Yeah, well, I have actually, Ruth, and sort of in my mid-40s, and I guess each of those cancer episodes were wake-up calls that I needed to change my life. I probably didn't listen very well the first time or the second time. But the third time when depression got the better of me, I knew that that was probably a life changer, and the reason that I'm in this space now, actually in that men's mental health and that mental and emotional wellness space.
Message has been received and you're starting to spread it, which is awesome. So far in this series, we've discussed 2 of the 10 common factors employed by people who have survived cancer against the odds. Now, if you missed episode 1 and 2, make sure you go back and have a listen. Today, we're discussing empowerment. What does it mean? How can it affect your wellness journey?
Well, the first thing to remember, Ruth, is that it really applies to all of us. It's not confined to a cancer diagnosis. Whether you have a chronic illness, autoimmune, immune disorder, or just general healthiness. Employing these factors can benefit everyone, especially in that depression space, which is one of the reasons why I got involved.
So empowerment, then, Graham, what is it exactly?
Well, empowerment is taking an active role in your own mental and emotional and physical wellness. It's not being just passive. Until you empower yourself, how are you going to be willing to change your diet? How are you going to be willing to start exercising? And it starts with that desire to make changes. It really does.
But it's one of the common factors about our radical remission survivors.
Oh, definitely. Radical remission survivors are just always willing to make another change. As a goalpost shift in that cancer journey or whatever, it's you have to be willing to make those changes. Well, it's a part of everyday life, really, and it's something that changes is part of our lives, and and empowering yourself to make the right changes is absolutely critical.
And so when we're talking about empowerment, we're not talking about people who just flat out ignore their doctors.
Definitely not, Ruth. That's not what empowerment means. And empowerment means listening to your doctors and wanting to understand them and asking them questions. And that's the critical part of it. Asking questions and then taking it, working in collaboration with your doctor. But you're working as a team and working with them to. At the end of the day, your outcome and their outcome's one and the same. You want to be alive.
Because often doctors, etc., are dealing with cancer every single day. This is your first time, but it's your first time dealing with it because you don't understand what's happening. You're just being pulled along, and it's almost like you can become a bystander in your treatment. Someone says, "Graham, we're going to do this," and you go, "Yeah, okay, I don't know what's happening, but let's do that." So empowerment then is saying, why are we doing that?
And like the last episode, Ruth, was your intuition, and more often than not, it's in this space that that where your intuition will kick in, and the flow on from that intuition is empowerment, and say, hang on, that doesn't feel right to me.
Yeah.
I will do, I want to investigate this, and the number of instances where sort of in the books that and the research that Kelly's done, where the conventional medicine wanted to chop someone up, and they said no, hang on, that doesn't feel right to me. I want some time to do this, and that time during that that empowerment was twofold, in that it said no, I want the time to explore these things, and that exploration might be to change the diet or do something different. And that's what empowerment's all about, is taking control.
The thing is, like, our doctors, so incredible people who have studied all of their lives, and they know how to attack cancer cells. They know how to attack those particular disorders, etc., that are there. They know what chemo will do to them. They know what radiation will do. Actually, having surgeries or biopsies will do to them. But it's only one small part of your life, isn't it?
Yeah.
There's so much more to a life than just attacking those cancer cells.
That's exactly right. And we're whole beings, and that about health and happiness, and the friendships and the families and those sorts of things, and these all come, that they're all part of the mix. Empowering yourself is taking control of your life, and your life isn't just confined to that to those cancer cells. There's a lot more to your life than that, and
so that because the doctors can help with the medical side of it, but they can't necessarily help with your family connection. They can't help with your spiritual connection. There are other aspects. So in the Radical Remission workshop, you actually take people through an exercise with empowerment.
That's exactly right, and all those aspects of their lives, and look at where they sit in that sort of in that health space on a scale of 1 to 10. They're sitting at a 2, and they need to empower themselves to a point where they're making a difference in that survival story. They're going to lift that to make a commitment to lift that to a 7 or an 8. And there's a number of other things. Is our personal happiness has a direct impact on our immunity. And how we respond to things like cancer and depression and those sorts of things. So sometimes you just got to take control.
Because that fun and happiness actually produces the hormones that you're looking for to be an immune boosting situations, being happy, etc. There's the endorphins and the oxytocin, and I really don't know, I'm not a doctor. When you are happy, you are producing chemicals that boost your immune system. And the doctor's not there to make you happy.
No.
You need to empower yourself to be able to get into that space.
And when you stop and think, Ruth, where we've come from first session where we looked at a reason to live. And then when we moved on to our intuition, and now this empowerment sort of pulls those two together and say, well, hang on, we really need to look at our whole life and where we want to be. Like story in the book with the reason to live was a young fellow he'd just been married. I think he was 25 or something like that, and when he got the diagnosis, and it was a bad one, it really was, and they just said, well, you've got a certain period of time to live, and it was very short, and he basically said, no, you've got that wrong. I want to have children, I want to do this, and that was over 20 odd years ago, and he's got kids and everything now, but so it's that taking control, that empowering yourself to say, no, this is not happening. I've got a reason to live, and you listen to your intuition, and you say, well, I'm taking control, and that's what empowerment is.
So taking control, taking ownership.
Yeah.
Ownership is empowerment.
Yeah.
If you need help to do that, and your gut is telling you to reach out and learn more about the 10 common factors of radical remission, Graham is running workshops that are good not just for those receiving cancer treatment, but also for carers, spouses, friends, family, or even if you're just interested in a healthier way to live. And so, Graham, you've got a couple of workshops. You run information sessions, you run 2-day workshops. How do we access when those next workshops are?
Either they'll be posted on the website, or there'll be links to them posted as and when they're coming up.
And there's also nothing stopping you from reaching out immediately to Graham.
Well, there's one-on-one coaching in this space, in this Radical Remission space, where I'll work with people individually on either on Zoom or whatever, sort of with in person or Zoom, or where we work through not necessarily the whole 10 healing factors. We select 4 or 5 and then find an expert in that, say,
Yes.
herbs and supplements and that diet space. So,
So you don't have to wait for a workshop. There will be one coming up, but if you would prefer to take action now or at the soonest possible point, then by all means, you reach out to Graham now.
Yeah. And I do offer a 30-minute free consultation as well in that space. So, we can talk about what it is you're looking for in your life to have an outcome that best suits your what you require.
Beautiful. Take control. Empower yourself. Book Graham. Graham, what's coming up for episode 4?
Episode 4, we'll take a look at that area of diets and vitamins and supplements and exercise.
Time to stop taking our bodies for granted, hey? You've been listening to the Radical Remission Coach, Graham Cotter. We will catch you in episode 4. But in the meantime,
remember, our minds respond to the words we say and the pictures we make. Change the words, change the pictures, change your life. Maybe might even save it.